The Atlanta Hawks are coming off a Eastern Conference Finals appearance, but they started off the season pretty slow. They started off 4-8. Trae Young is averaging 24-9, shooting 42% from the field goal and 33% from three. So he hasn't taken too big of a dip. And across the Hawks players' numbers, they're pretty efficient. DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish has really played better this year. Bogdanovich is still shooting 40% from three. The only player that's taken a big hit has been Clint Capella. He's averaging 10 points, career low. Well, outside, like career low when he plays these much minutes.
Yep.
They're the 11. They're one of the worst seeds right now. They're one of the worst teams in the East record-wise. But last year, they were 14-20 with Lloyd Pierce. They were the 11th seed. Then they got Nate McMillan and went on a gigantic run. So last year, they started off slow as well. I don't know if it's time to quite hit the panic button on this team, but it seems like on the outside, there's a lot of noise about this team isn't the same. So I'll take it to Riff because he's a Hawks expert. He loves to watch the Hawks. To watch Cam Reddish be worse than RJ Barrett. So I want to ask you, what do you think about the Hawks? Do you think there's something wrong with them? Are you concerned about them? Do they look like the same team that they were last season?
No, they don't look like the same team that they were last year. And the difference with last year was they were 14-20 and they made a coaching change and Nate McMillan came in. He instilled this type of culture. He instilled that discipline. And Nate McMillan is still there. Why is that same discipline not there coming into this season, you know? So they're not playing defense. That's just call it like how we see it. The Hawks aren't playing defense.
25th ranked defense.
You mentioned Clint Capella. He's shooting his lowest percentage at the rim at 59% this year. He was supposed to, last year when they got him, he was that guy that anchored that defense for them. And this year he just hasn't been the same. You know, Trae Young, we know what he is in the defensive end, but the team as a whole hasn't been good on defense. And they're blowing leads, like they're blowing games. Even you brought it up, that Suns game, they blew that game. That was a Hawks win, and they blew that game.
Really was.
So it's like this team the discipline hasn't been there, and Nate McMillan hasn't been able to instill that same system that he employed last year that got them to where they are, that got that mentality that they had last year. It's not in them right now. I feel like they feel too big of themselves, and they're not playing defense. Granted, Cam Reddish has played better. He looks really great off the bench. Trae Young hasn't gotten it going, but he's going to figure it out eventually. And like you said, the team is fine. It's just defensively they haven't been able to stick. And they have good defensive players. So on defense, they just have to figure it out. The discipline has to get there. But like you said, I'm not going to push the panic button, but it's not the same as last year because they made a coaching change and then everything was different. You know, they got a player coach. With this situation, they're just not playing defense. And whether it's I don't even know why they're not playing defense. I mean, maybe they just come into the games lazy, or they just don't have that same drive, or they just feel like they're bigger than the world because they just came off ECF. But this team is just not playing defense, and there's no other way you could put it.
Another issue of theirs is their depth right now. We're looking at their bench unit right now. You got Horter, who has just been, I guess, disappointment would be a bit of an understatement right now. Horter's shooting from the field 44%, and then from three, 35%. 35% isn't bad, but for Horter's standards, that definitely could be better.
Those are pretty good. Those are pretty good numbers for a guard.
For regular, for sure. But in terms of what Horter can do from from the 3-point range, you want to see that increased a little bit. Then you have Danilo Gallinari averaging his field goal percentage is 37% from the field, shooting around 38% from three, which is solid. Then you have Lou Will, who I don't know what Lou Will is at this point in time, but I guess. If you're Atlanta, you needed him to be some kind of spark for you off the bench. Hasn't been the case at this point. Shooting 32% from the field, and then from 3-point range, 27% from that territory. They need some depth right now, and it's a lot of Trae Young shouldering. It's a lot of John Collins right now shouldering. And if John Collins and Trae Young are the only two that are going right now, and Trae Young really hasn't gotten going, obviously we expect his 3-point shooting and his field goal percentage to increase a little bit. But Trae Young shot around this basically last season. I mean, if you could do me a favor, look up what Trae Young shot last season. And if it's more than 2% variation from 33%, I'd be shocked.
He shot 34% from three.
So it's not as if Trae Young is doing anything or playing any really different than what he's doing last season. It's just his points per game right now is just a little bit down, and the rest of his guys really haven't been performing.
The foul baiting.
He's still averaging 24.
Yeah, but he was
averaging 30.
With Atlanta, you can tell them not getting calls frustrates them more than any other team in the league.
But I feel like as if even still,
He averaged 25 last year's, averaged 24 now.
Yeah, so like
it's not, Trae Young's not the problem. It's the rest of these guys on their bench unit right now that need to just take their their play right now and turn it up a notch.
Think Trae Young's a problem?
Why is Trae the problem right
when
now?
you're the leader of the team,
I guess.
and the guys follow you. Like if Joel is up here, right, and Joel comes in here with a bad attitude, or somebody makes a phone call to Joel and it just throws his mood off, then it's gonna affect us. Then our moods are down. He comes on the show, he's not feeling it, he's giving attitude, then we're going to kind of feed off him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's the same with Trae Young. You're the leader of this team. They don't give you a call, and now all of a sudden the team's going to feed off your energy, and then all of a sudden it's infectious. It's going to affect everybody.
Let's just look at the starting roster and their splits right now. You have John Collins who's shooting 58% from the field and 45% from three. That's excellent. You still got Bogdanovich shooting 45% from the field and 40% from three. Reddish shooting 41% from the field, which could be a little bit better, but then 39% from three.
He takes a lot of threes.
And obviously he's not a starter, but he's like one of their lone bench players that has been actually performing for them.
The only one.
They need more consistency from those guys. This is what separated them last year because they had so much depth coming off this bench. Now they don't have that, and it's translating to losses.
But who did they have coming off the bench last year?
Porter last season was excellent for him.
Herter last season averaged 11.
How about Gallo?
But in his role last season, he was definitely more efficient than what he's been doing up in this.
It's
Gallo
been similar.
Was definitely
like,
more
Herter,
in the playoffs. I'm speaking specifically.
Well, the playoffs was a small sample size.
But that was a big reason why people were so high on Horter. Why Horter was ranked higher than R.J. Barrett on the top 82 or whatever.
That was
the reason why he was
ranked.
The reason why he was ranked high is because people that made that list were stupid.
Yeah,
that's really what it was.
Fair enough.
Kevin Herter last year averaged 12 points per game, but he played 31 minutes per game. This year he's averaging 9, but playing 22 minutes per game.
Yeah.
So he's averaging 3 less points, but he's playing about 9 less minutes. Last year he shot 43% from the field.
Well,
this year he's shooting 44%.
Hunter was out a lot last year.
Yeah,
that's true.
There's no doubt. But I think Kevin Herter has been fine. And really, the bench has been fine. If anything, it's gotten a bit better because Cam Reddish stepped up. Danilo has been bad.
I think the bench needs a guard. The drop off from Trae to the backups, it's
DeLon
like
Wright,
that was supposed to be DeLon Wright, but last year they didn't have that because last year was supposed to be Rondo. So last year they didn't have that either.
Yep.
I think that what can help them is getting Onyeka back.
Yeah, that would help.
That's what I think can help them defensively more than anything, getting Onyeka back. Because right now off the bench is who? Gorky Jang. He's a journeyman. He's not anything special. So I think Onyeka can help them out defensively. Like you said, I don't think offense has been their problem. You mentioned they're one of the worst defenses right now. Kind of like the Knicks. The Knicks are one of the best offenses, but one of the worst defenses right now. Yeah, but we know Tom Thibodeau is going to turn it around sooner because it's a Tom Thibodeau-led team. We're not sure if Nate McMillan is going to turn around this team. Yep. But if you guys were to bank on the Hawks, I know before the season started, we made our Eastern Conference predictions. You guys had the Hawks very high. So are you still confident in the Hawks finishing as a top 6 seed in the East?
I still believe they'll finish top 6.
I'm going to stay firm on that too. It's still early. Obviously, them being bottom 3 in the East is a shock to anyone watching basketball, but I think they'll get it together.
Just piggybacking off what you guys said, I mean, I think the regression of Clint Capella has definitely made this defense worse. They're the 25th ranked defense, but I don't think they have a really good bench. I mean, I'm looking at their bench statistics right now, like the players off the bench. I mean, like you said, like you alluded to, Lou Williams has been awful. Gallinari's been awful, and Gorgie Jang's he's like you said, he's a journeyman. They don't have much of a bench. I mean, and then I think Trae Young slightly regressed this year. I agree with you. He slightly regressed this year. I think maybe, the foul baiting rules have gotten to him. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, I just, like you said, I don't see the same desire from this team defensively. I mean, they're the 25th ranked defense. I think our DeAndre Hunter coming back has kind of I don't want to say messed up anything because it definitely isn't messed up anything when you bring back a good 3-and-D player like him. But Kevin Herter, all these guys have to find a new role now. Now that DeAndre Hunter, and he was an integral piece to their team last year, so him bringing him back, I think the addition to him coming back to the team is kind of like throwing off Kevin Herter and all these other guys. But they're 4-8 right now. I don't think it's time to press the panic button because there's only 12 games. defensively they have to get better, and defensively Clint Capella has to be better. I mean, this is a guy that you gave up some pieces for him from the Rockets for him to come on your team. Last year he had a stellar season. I think he was averaging 16 and 12. So for you to take that much of a points decrease and then your rebounds go down, everything going down, I mean, you were the anchor of the defense. You were Trae Young's lob threat. You were an integral part of the offensive defense. So the fact that he's performing worse, I think that's affecting his
Who
team.
was in that trade? Oh, I forgot.
It was a three-way
yeah,
trade.
it was.
They didn't trade anybody significant at all.
That was the Westbrook trade, right?
That was a Robert Covington trade.
Clint
That's
Capella trades to
Robert
the
Covington,
Hawks, Covington to Houston in 14 deal. Yeah, I don't want to read all this.
Yeah, no, I got it. Got it. Basically, Robert Covington.
Lou Will and Danilo starting off bad, I think, is more so because they're older.
Yeah.
Usually
Lou
older
Will's
players
done.
get better as the year progresses, but Lou Will has already stated
I think Lou
this
was
is
cooked.
his last year. You know, Lou Will, it doesn't seem like he has a desire to play past this year, which makes you wonder if he has a desire to play even this season. I mean, I told you guys before the season, the Hawks were a fluke last year, and I'm not pressing the panic button on them. I think they'll make the playoffs, but they'll definitely lose in the first round, and I hope they face the Knicks because then they're really going to get embarrassed.
Two trash-ass defenses.
We're going to pick it up, though.
Yeah.
We're going to pick it up, and you know we are because we got Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah. Your offense will be shit when the playoffs come. Not really worried.